Isaiah 6:8 in the Bible, the Lord said, "Who will I send? Who will go for us?" And I said, "Here I am, send me." Save one life and you save the world. You know, I decided to act. It doesn't matter what that situation was. You've got to go alone, do whatever it takes, and just come back. Inside I was screaming, "No, I'm not alright. I'm hurting here." Life's not over. Don't give up on it.
Today's video, as always, was powered by Huel. Without Huel, we wouldn't be able to make these documentaries. So if you want to find out more about their amazing products, go to the link down below.
There was a terrorist incident in Nairobi, Kenya in 2019. 5 terrorists attacked a hotel complex. It started with a suicide detonation, and then 4 terrorists armed with assault rifles and hand grenades started marauding through the complex, intent on murdering anyone they could find. I got a phone call when that was happening, and I turned up, and then I intervened. I went into the complex, and then 18 hours after the attack started, the last terrorists were neutralized, and then after 22 hours after I turned, so 18 hours and 4 hours after that, I then left the complex. So it was the most remarkable day of my life. And when I was living there, I had no intelligence. No one said that this was going to happen or thought this would happen. It had happened. It had happened before in the past, but it was this thing. There was nothing to lead me to think that, oh, there's going to be an attack on a hotel. But for some reason in my mind, I thought this could happen. There's nothing that told me that it was going to happen. There's no intelligence, but I was I was ready for it. When I mean ready, I was ready mentally. I was ready physically. I was always training, both like physically, shooting, keeping on top of things, and I had my equipment good to go. It wasn't a requirement, but it was. When I say good to go, it was ready. So I didn't have to. There's like having a. Are you packed? Yeah, I'm packed. Well, I've just got to grab some more. I've just got to grab my wash kit or things like that. You're not packed. I was good to go. So I knew if the call ever came, I just felt it could. I knew I just had to grab my bag and I wouldn't need anything else. I was prepared for it. And thank God I was. So that morning I'd been doing my own training and things, and then I was driving back to the city and drive onto call it the main, but it's still a dirt track. On this dirt track you'd sometimes see Maasai tribesmen or workmen on the track working for the Chinese rail link. So I was shocked to see a guy in a smart beige business suit with highly polished shoes. Then what's even stranger is that I broke all procedures, common sense if you like as well, as I stopped the car, put the window down and said, "Hey buddy, do you want a lift?" So he runs over, gets in the car, saying, thank you, and start driving down. We're driving down, he says, how old, straight away, so thank you so much, what's your name? Chris. Tells me his name. He said, how old are you? I said, I'm 43. He said, I'm 43. So when were you born? I was like, September. He goes, I was born in September. I don't know what day, but what day were you born? I said, oh, on the 15th. He said, this is a good sign. That means you and I were both born in September 1975. And then he chuckles, goes away. But then he reaches into his pocket and pulls out this dagger. I'm completely chill about this. I have no feeling of threat. It's curved. It's called a Chris. The thing that was unusual that this had 2 tips. It might have been broken at the end, but it looked like it had 2 tips. And I jokingly say to him, you're not going to kill me, try and kill me without it. He goes, oh, no, I carry this in case I come across any demons or evil spirits on this road. It comes in handy. He chuckles to himself, puts it away. I look at him and say, hey, judging how you're dressed, I take it you're going to go into, you're going into the city. He's like, no, please just drop me off at the first village. Bring the truck to a stop. He's like, oh, thank you so much. He opens the door, and when his foot hits the ground, everything changes. So his foot hits the ground, his face changed. He's still the same shit, but it's a bit like if you say to someone, if you insulted someone, do you know how you'd get all serious and we're like, what? And his face changes and he's like, Chris, and his voice is different. It's the same voice, but it's different. The description I use is it's quiet but loud, and it's everywhere. It's not coming from the direction of his mouth, it's coming from everywhere around me, and I can feel it in my heart vibrate everywhere. I was like, may God bless you many times this day. And then like that, snaps out of it. Oh, thank you. And then closes the door, and then he runs off. And I thought that's a bit strange. But some 30 hours later, after the most remarkable day of my life, that came to mean something. And even before I'd even left the complex, I was walking out towards my pickup to get back in it, and I could hear his words. And I was like, in my heart, I was like, yeah. Everything was leading me to that point. But I'm so thankful I was there to help. I was so thankful I was there to save people's lives. And I'm so thankful that it gives me some sort of closure on my life up until that point. That every time I take a beating, every time I give a beating, every time I didn't get a job or didn't do well or did that, it was all plotting this course where I had to be in Nairobi on that day. And everything, and whether it be career failures, whether it be trouble, whether it be anything, it was all, any relationships were all leading me to that point. And it's like, thing was, my training started the moment I was born for that day. I didn't know where it was. I'd never been there before. It was just like, there's a complex attack going on at 14 Riverside Drive. That's all I knew. I didn't know so the complex, if you like, is a 7-story, 5-star hotel. It dominates the center with a 12-story, multi-story car park attached to it. Surrounding the hotel and car park are multi-story office blocks, and then surrounding the whole complex is I believe it's a 10-foot high wall with an electric fence on top. One of the key points to it is there's only a single entry and exit point into the complex for both pedestrians and vehicles. So once you're in there, you're trapped. It turned up, thought people were dealing with things. I could hear gunfire explosions. And then when I put some gear on, I left a lot of gear in my truck. I only put the gear on that I had that day to look somewhat official. Went forward to see what's going on. Then I could report back to whoever this was going on, and people are dealing with it. Hear the gunfire. Looked into an office. Got directed to an office because the press were there, and they said people in the office were hiding under tables and chairs and things. And announced who I was, and then I said, is that Kenyan police in there, Kenyan Special Forces? No one's here yet, no one's in there. And I heard gunfire explosions, and I was like, okay. Then I heard a woman scream, then I heard gunfire cut that scream off. I realised she's just been murdered. And it was like in the distance, it was like hard, but I heard that and I was like, okay, I'm going in. And then I went in by myself at that point. And then the rest is history. Isaiah 6:8 in the Bible, and it's the Lord said, "Who will I send? Who will go for us?" And I said, "Here I am, send me." on my car keys, on the keys that I had on me through that attack, I've got a keyring that said that on there, that I still carry today. You know, I decided to act. Doesn't matter what that situation was. Everyone knows I did it, and the details of what I did inside there will remain not told for now. I would have done this, I would have done that. It's very easy to say that when you know the outcome, when you know how the story unfolds. I didn't know the story. I had no authority, and I went in. I could have lost my life, but if the mission had been a failure, I would have lost my career. I would have got thrown against the wall. You know, I would have been finished. But when I crossed that threshold to do the right thing, I didn't know how many terrorists were there. I knew there were multiple terrorists because you could hear it. I knew they had grenades because I could hear them going off. I knew they had automatic weapons because I could hear them going off, but I didn't know where they were, how many there were. The other thing I didn't know is that at that point I didn't know who was in there. So if I'm going in and I've got to take a shot at someone, I've got a split second perhaps to make the call to pull the trigger or not. Is it a terrorist? Is it a police officer? Is it a civilian who's armed? Is it just a civilian? Could have been any of them. Or is it a journalist with a camera? I've got a split second to make that call. The terrorists, on the other hand, they have no rule of engagement. They have no plan other than just to kill people. That said, did I feel disadvantaged? Nope. When I crossed that threshold, I felt like it was a heavyweight boxing champion going in against amateurs. I felt I had the upper hand. I was invincible. I was there. I had got on my side, and I was doing the right thing, and nothing can touch me. I am here. My name's Christian Craighead. I served in the British Army for 28 years, 15 of which was in the 22nd Special Air Service Regiment, 22 SAS. I retired in 2020, and now I live in the United States of America, in Texas. I was born in northeast England, just north of Newcastle, and then I grew up there till I was 16 years old and joined the army in 1992. In 1970s, 1980s, Northern England in a council estate, it's kind of, for me, it was a tough childhood. I certainly didn't enjoy it, and all I really wanted to do was grow up and get out as fast as I could, and hence joining the army at 16 years old. I just wanted to be a soldier. I wanted to be a warrior. You know, lots of people have had bad experiences as a child, and the kids my age lived on one side of the street. All the kids lived on my side of the street, and I used to try and hang around with them. And most of the time they were good. And remember, it's a different time. But there's one time this woods used to back onto the house, and I used to pretty much live in these woods, and they were like the back of my hands. And these boys were doing stuff who I knew, these boys who were much older than I was. And I would have been about somewhere between 4 and 6 years old. They were saying, "Come on, we're going to play Batman and Robin, and you're the bad guy, you're the Joker." And I was okay. And they said, "Right, what you got to do is," so they stuffed me into a potato sack, do like a Hessian sack, and then tied the top into it. And I remember like throwing this bag around and kicking it, and they were laughing out inside. I was getting beaten, and I was crying at that point. And I was telling this story once to a group of colleagues in the SAS, and they were like, "What the?" And then, "Well, how did you get out of the bag?" And I said, "Oh, I got out of it when they set fire to it." And then I escaped. But then it was all dressed up afterwards as, "Oh, you know, you're a friend, blah, blah, blah." So I didn't really say anything to anyone. Years later, you realise that's not pretty cool. The most brutal thing of all, this is really like seems a bit messed up, is I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful it happened to me. Was in 1984. I remember it because I just moved to a new house. It was the first day of school, so it would have been early September 1984. And I was had a great day, first day of school, walking home. These two guys, apparently they'd just been released from Borstal or been escaped from Borstal. I don't know. But they were bad lads. I kind of knew them, but didn't know them. And they were like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Nothing, I'm going home." And well, one of them smacked me over the back of the head, dropped me to the floor, and then they started kicking the shit out of me. That's the easy bit. Then they decided to start torturing me. And it was like just one of them was like knelt on me, punching me in the face and stuff. The other one was like getting nettles and like doing stuff for that. And the other one like put a cigarette on me and all that, and burning me with a lighter and stuff, like threatening to gouge my eyes out and all these things. And it went on for over an hour, and they got like dog shit and was smearing dog shit on me and things. And but my obviously it was a horrific ordeal, but not that long after it, I thought, you know what, they were all for blood, and if they hadn't got me, someone was getting it that day. It wasn't just going to be me, someone was going to get it. And if they'd come across a girl my age or younger or older, but if they'd come across a girl, they would have you could sense as a pure evil. They were building blocks to what I would become. I'm not going to let that happen to me again. So it put me on that sort of footing. It put me on a war footing, which would last for the rest of my life. I'd always had that calling. I always wanted to be in the military. The Wild Geese, starring Richard Burton, Roger Moore. That was a movie that I saw pretty young. It's an old movie now, but it's set in Africa, and it's like mercenaries in Africa. But when you the opening scene, I only watched it a couple of years ago. But I hadn't seen it for years and years. And the opening I thought was quite ironic. Openings are like picture of Africa, and you're like, all right, funny how life turns out. All these like movies where you have the one man gets his gear on, goes and gets the job done. Those movies are just great. Yeah, I got back home, and it kind of, well, it wasn't that night, it was the next afternoon. So it was it's the next day, it's the 16th, the afternoon, and I get home and kind of overwhelmed, and have a shower, make a cup of tea, and I'm like, Sky News is on, and it's on mute, and I put a random playlist on. NXS comes on, band NXS, and the song Searching, that I kind of hadn't heard before, but it's just a surreal, like, I call it a movie moment, because I'm watching me on TV, and then I've got NXS playing the song Searching. So I'm watching myself on TV, listening to this music, and like we're like welling up. Tried to sleep, just completely like jacked up on adrenaline. Then phone starts like, and then like I looked at my phone an hour later, and it's got something like 140 messages or something like that, or I don't know, it's like lots. And then carried on doing my thing, so to speak. And then I went through a real like tough time, and within myself, I was in essence, there's people who could say they were supporting me, and they were supporting me, but I was on my own. People say you're not alone, and you're not alone in your suffering. You might have people who love and support you around you, or colleagues who work with you and who want to support you around you, but you are alone in that struggle, and it's down to you to get better. Now you can get better, and how you get better, that's what you got to do, is like do what works for you. If therapy and talking to the support unit around you gets you better, then you do that. If doing physical fitness or shooting or riding your motorbike faster than what you should do is better for you, then do it. There's one point, there's a friend of mine, he was a friend of mine and is a friend of mine, and there's no criticism to this guy whatsoever. Phones me up a few months after the incident, and he's like, "Hey Christian, I've known you for nearly 20 years. I know that you're not bothered about this, blah blah blah, but we've got to do our checks and balances. We've got to make sure that you're all right. But I know that you're tough. You're a tough cookie. So, but are you all right?" I was screaming to say, "Oh no, I'm not all right. I'm hurting here. I'm not all right." But it's that thing. I was like, "Yeah, mate. Yeah, I'm all cool. No issues." But inside, it was screaming, going, "I'm not all right. I need help, and I need it now." But I was like, "Yeah, mate, I'm fine." The takeaway from that story would be, and it's not his fault, but for me, if I was to do that again, and maybe I did bring it up, I can't remember if I did, but if he'd saw me face to face, whether even if it was a video call, I think that Irani would have said, "You're not all right. You're coming home right now, or I'm coming out to you." or whatever. But I was just like, yeah, I'm fine. But inside I was screaming and going, I wanted to say, I'm not all right. So, you know, I did some things to try and help get me through that. And again, I was conscious that I wasn't all right. And at least I had the sense to not drink heavy and not do bits and pieces. And
you're still in Kenya at that time.
Yeah, I was living there. So, but yeah, and I got through it. Like I say about, someone maybe should have saw me face to face. The criticism on me for being a coward, I should have said, oh no, I had the balls to say, you know what, I'm not all right. But I was just like, yeah, I'm cool. And that's the thing, it's such a common story. We hear people killing themselves and people going, you all right? And they're like, yeah, I'm fine. Maybe that's all I was put on this earth for, and what am I going to do now? It's not what am I going to do, it's just like this thing about going, yeah, is that it? Someone made me as this tool to do one particular job, but once that job's done, the tool's useless. That's kind of how I was thinking about it. And it's like some people have said to me is, you know, that thing, you were training all your life to do that thing in Kenya, but that thing in Kenya was maybe the thing that needed to happen for you to do something that you haven't done yet. It's like save one life and you save the world. My training started the moment I was born. Everything in life was just leading me to that point. And if I got in a time machine and met Christian Craighead at the train station joining the army on the 7th of September 1992, you'd give him any advice for the future. And like, I'd go up to this young 16-year-old and say, follow your gut. That's it. I'd just say, do what you got to do. When I had got that message about may God bless you many times that day, that's when the clock was ticking, because everything after that, that's when everything was in motion for that day. I went and got my haircut after that. Then I had lunch with a cheeky cocktail and then went back, had a shower. But when the call came, the whole city was collapsing in on itself. So every second counted and everything was just perfect. For when I stepped out that shower, phone rang, everything from that moment was sweet. I always believed in God, and even though I wasn't brought up, I didn't have to go to church and things like that. I do recall like looking at a Bible at an early age. And so here's something that's strange. So in 1999, Airborne Brigade were leaving Aldershot and going to Colchester, and in the case of Pathfinders to Watersham Airfield. On the last day, I read the lessons in church. And at the end of it, because it was my last day, the congregation gave me this cross. And it's on one side it's got Remembrance Day, because that's when it was, so Memorial Day for the Americans, or that kind of thing. 14th of November 1999. And on the front it says, may God always guide you. Cool. So that lived on a shelf in my home all the way through until then. Okay, Kenya happens, life goes on. I'm in Brooklyn, New York, or in November 2019. That's when I get the phone call from the commanding officer of 22 SAS, and he says, just so you know, you've been given a medal for what you did in Kenya. Thanks a lot. That's it, kind of what the conversation was all about. Didn't think much of it. I then get back to my home in Hereford, where I lived at the time, like a couple of months later. And this is what's strange. This is on the shelf because I hadn't taken it to Kenya, and it was in my home in Hereford, and something compelled me to grab it. So I grabbed it. May God always guide you. And then turn it round, and I thought, oh, what are the chances of that? On the day when I got told I was being given an award for my day in Kenya, it was exactly 20 years to the day that this was given to me. What I think strange about it is the coincidence of the date, but it was also what made me grab that and then look at the date, because I'd never done that before. I never went, oh, I wonder what date this was given to me. And I grabbed it and looked and went, oh, all right, isn't that isn't life strange sometimes? Council House to White House. In 2019, I had to give a presentation to a US military unit. Leading up to that, members of the United States Secret Service, who are responsible, amongst other things, for guarding the president, their Special Operations Division reached out to me and said, hey, could you come to our training facility and talk to our guys about some of the lessons that you learned, or we want to pick your brain on some things about that day. I was like, yeah, cool, I'm in the area. Oh, a couple of weeks before I'm going to the Secret Service, they're like, oh, have you been to the White House before? I was like, no. So we'll bring this suit and we'll take you on a tour around the White House, and so you can see things that people don't get to see. I'm like, brilliant. And we're driving to the White House, and then again, it's just a guided tour. This is what it's supposed to be. So I haven't told anyone I'm going to the White, because it's just a tour of the White House. The Secret Service, they get a phone call and they say, oh, the Vice President would like to meet Christian. And so they say, oh, you're going to go and see the Vice President. Okay. So we'll go in, meet the Vice President and have a chat with him, really engaging. And then we go off on the rest of the tour. Secret Service phone goes off. Yeah, the National Security Advisor wants to meet Christian Craighead. So then take us to his office and speak with him for a good half an hour, 45 minutes. Really good chat. And then he asked me, he goes, oh, have you met, he says POTUS, which is the President of the United States. Have you met him yet? Because I know he wants to talk to you. I know he'd love to talk to you. And he's like, and I haven't met him yet. So then we go out of that office, down in the corridor. It's all fast moving. And then get put in this room. They go into a smaller office. I didn't know at this point that this room is the Oval Office. So I've got like this honor of probably being one of the only people in the world who's been in the Oval Office who didn't know it was the Oval Office. It's a lot smaller than it was in the movies, in my opinion. And then I get him talking, and then they open the door and say, oh, come in, and puts his hand out. And the first thing he says to me is, thank you for saving American lives. And why this is important is that, firstly, it's me, the guy who was born to a single mother, grew up in a council estate, scrawny kid, didn't apply himself well at school until when he did apply himself, it was too late. Joined the army that everyone thought he wouldn't get in. Joined the Parachute Regiment, which people didn't think he'd get in. Joined the Pathfinder Platoon. Got into the SAS. And now I'm shaking hands with the President of the United States of America in his office. You could say that all the lessons that I learned on the streets of that council estate took me from the council house to the White House. Just to put away any rumours or what, because there was a bit of a shitty news article came out after I retired that was shunned by I've never been shunned by any colleagues. Everyone from the SAS who I know has given me nothing but thanks and support for, well, not only for what I did in Kenya, but also encouraged me to write the book. There's not one person who's come up to me and said, you should write a book about this incident. Everyone says, this is a story that needs to be told. There's so much information about this incident out there now that the story will bit by bit become more and more known, I believe, even if I died. I say what I think I'm towing the line with what information is out there. I don't think I'm giving away secrets or anything. I'm just saying about feelings and things. But what I hope one day is someone reads the book and go, why did they try and... That's what people will do, is why did they try and ban this book? Or why did they ban this book? Or why did they stop this book from coming out? It wasn't banned because it never came out, but why did they stop the publication of this book? Because they'll read it and go, this is a great story and there's nothing damaging here. you cannot train to become a tier 1 operator. You're born to do it. Like, there's guys who could physically easy. It all comes down to if you had to do it, and you don't have to do it, and that's what makes selection hard, is that you don't have to do it. So when you put a rucksack on your back and you get given a location where you're going to go, and you look and you see, if you can see, because the mist might be in, but if you can see it might be even worse. See that mountain in the distance? Yeah, well, you're going to the one on the other side of that where you can't see. Off you pop. And that's what freak people out. And then they go, it's not the, and if they had to, if you had held a gun to the head and say, if you don't walk there now in 4 kilometers an hour, I'm going to kill your family, I bet they'd be able to do it. It's untapping that resource. You've got to be able to do it. You've got to want to do it. And if you don't want it, you're not going to get it. Whatever unit you're from, whether it be infantry, support arms, whatever, typically the guy going for SAS selection is the fittest, the strongest, the keenest, the one who excels in everything, who gets good reports all the time and is like golden balls. You pass this course, which just has such a high failure rate, and now you're in the SAS. But here's something you didn't think about and no one tells anyone, is you've now joined a unit where every single member is that guy. Where you were the top of your 30 guys in your platoon. Now you're in a squadron or a regiment where every single man was that guy. You have sheepdogs and wolves. You're all working to the same goal, so you all got a common aim. But some of the people around you are sheepdogs. They can produce the goods if they had to, and they're there and they're selected, and that's why they're there. But there's some people around you who are wolves who have been trained into sheepdogs, and they're the different people. The wolves are the ones that will do things when they need to be done, without orders, off their own back, and with total aggression and commitment. And the sheepdogs will do it if they have to, but won't do it unless the shepherd tells them to do it. Firstly is keep your head. You can't be, if something's going wrong, or you've got to plan something, you can't look like you don't know what you're doing, or you're panicking, because your leadership abilities or the people willing to follow you will start falling away if you look like you don't know what you're doing or haven't got control of the situation. Then is assess the situation. You've got to see what's going on, you've got to know what's going on with the information that's available for you right then. So that, yeah, information might come out later on, but right now, given the information that you know, you assess the situation. Then you make your plan. However you do that, that's how you do it. And then you execute your plan. If it goes well, if it goes really well and starts changing, then you have to do it again. Keep your head, assess the situation, make a plan, and execute it. If it starts going really bad, same thing. You put your plan out there and you keep your head. I was trying to articulate what I was feeling that day, how I was energized, how I seemed to have, my eyesight seemed to be sharp and my hearing was better. I was faster, stronger, quicker. From when I crossed that threshold, I was in a state of flow for the duration. So I'd been on operations before. When I was 17 into 18, I went to Northern Ireland, and then I did some to Kosovo and in the Balkans and to Sierra Leone in Africa. But the first real, and I'm going to use, people might get a bit upset with this, but real combat experience was in Iraq, and I was actually a patrol commander in Pathfinders. So what I'm talking about, high point in my career, I'm talking about killing someone. And without sounding like a psychopath or any sort of anything else, there's more to it. the main thing is, it's something I've been training for all my life. Back in those days, it was a rarity, and having to have combat experience, real combat experience, the question was, you know, do you think you'll be able to kill a man, or what would you kill a man, or could you? And some people, well, you don't know until you do it. So it was always these things that it used to get talked about quite a lot back in the olden days. You do all this training, and everyone talks about it and do it, and then when it comes to you, it's like, all right. So it was all. So that was that's in 2003. So I've been in the army over 10 years at this point. So it's a long time from joining to actually seeing real action, being shot at and things like that before, but real close quarter combat was that day, and I felt good about it. It was really aggressive, fast moment. I ended up shooting 5 people at a range, same distance, kind of what you are to me now, which is just about 2 meters away, 2-3 meters away, and it was high pace, high octane sort of action that lasted seconds. But there was 2 guys left and right of me who also did the same thing, who did similar things, just in their own different ways. One with grenades and one with an automatic rifle, a support weapon. And it was good that not only did I produce the goods, that my good friends left and right of me produced the goods, and you know, you could argue I saved their lives and they saved my life, because we all worked it as one. This these three highly trained individuals working as one organism to defeat a common enemy. And then I went to sleep that night, and I felt like a kid who'd been given the best Christmas present ever, and I felt satisfied that I'd done the right thing and performed when I needed to and lived to tell a story. I wasn't born Christian Craighead. I mean, I know it's a pseudonym, but I wasn't born that character. I developed it after incidents, and yeah, I got into the SAS when I was 30, and the Kenya incident happened when I was 43. So all of that was developing up to that point. I think a lot of people who've been ex-SAS forget about that. You were in the SAS. As a kid, if I'd said that to my 13, 14, 15-year-old self, I'd be like blown away. I'd be like, what? That's amazing. This is going out to everyone out there who's 15, 16, 17, 18, 53. Doesn't matter. Life's not over. Don't give up on it. Don't give up on it, because you, like I said, all these like strange routes, it might seem that everything is going so wrong for you, but actually that's what's supposed to happen. If you want to call it like a warrior mindset, is you could argue that everyone's born with it and it's just repressed, and then events in life will shape, whether it be your parents or events that you suffer in life or deal with, whether it be good events or bad events, shape how this warrior inside you grows. And then some people are like, it comes out naturally, it's meant to be out there, and other people's it takes some things, and then a lot of people it doesn't come out ever because it never had to. I've seen too much stuff go on in this world now to make sense of it, and just don't give up. Don't give up on yourself. One, don't kill yourself, because if you do, you're gonna break someone's heart. And you know, there's so many people that will be devastated by you leaving. And if you're watching this and you say, well, I've got no friends and everyone hates me, that's cool. Don't kill yourself, because don't give the bastards the satisfaction. Prove them wrong, and they'll make them hate you even more, so you can get some satisfaction out of that. Don't say, well, I'm not going to do anything, life's rubbish anyway, I'm just going to go to the pub, I'm going to go to Wetherspoons and just drink my life away today, or I'm going to do drugs. And you might kill yourself tomorrow, you might kill yourself in 3 weeks' time, you might kill yourself in 30 years' time after a lifetime of just destroying your body. It's all the same result. It all comes back to just don't give up on yourself. You've got to go alone, do whatever it takes and just come back. That's all it means.
Thank you for watching the documentary, and I hope you enjoyed this episode with Christian Craighead. As always, these documentaries aren't possible without our sponsor, Huel. Huel is a quick, affordable, nutritionally complete source of food with everything that your body needs. This is the Huel Black Edition that I drink every single day. It's got 35 grams of protein, 26 vitamins and minerals, and some slow-release carbs in there. And I use this for my training. I use this to break the world record, and I also use this when I travel around the world and make projects like this, to know that I can go in my bag and grab a bottle and have everything that I need in a moment's notice has been an absolute game changer. If you want to get more offers and exclusive offers, use the link down below with the link in the description. Thank you to Huel for sponsoring the video. And lastly, as you guys know, I was trying to break the world record for the world's heaviest marathon, where I was rucking with 100 kilos on my back for 28 miles. And I was also doing 450 miles over 10 days with 25 kilos on my back as I ran through the Scottish Highlands to get a headstone back to my son's grave. We did it, guys. The mission is complete. And I wanted to say thank you to everybody who supported us, including Chris Craighead. But the true mission is still there. The raising money for other bereaved parents is still active right now. And until the documentary comes out, the donations page is still open. If you want to help support this project, there is a link down below for a GoFundMe where all the donations are going to bereaved parents to get them headstones. We're also doing an ice bath giveaway. Brass Monkey are giving a giveaway for our British viewers. You can make a £5 donation and the money goes to the charity and you get a chance to win the Brass Monkey ice bath. And we're also doing a Vortex giveaway where you can get Vortex optics set up. It's got a rangefinder on it as well. It's like $7,000 with a $7 donation with the link down below. Again, thank you to Vortex, Chad Robichaux for doing this as well, and Brass Monkey for making this happen. Thank you for all your support as always. Have a blessed and productive day, and I'll see you in the next one where we find more inspiring stories.